Have you ever been asleep and woke up and felt like someone's watching you? Well, what if they are? These three stories are just of that experiences of feeling like someone's watching them. Nina was only 17, and her parents one weekend went away on a trip. So she wasn't scared, and because she's used to staying by herself because her parents worked night shift. One night she was in bed and she just kept getting this uneasy feeling like something was watching her. And she went to sleep, and when she woke back up, as soon as she opened her eyes, she noticed there was something floating up above her. It had creepy eyes. The eyes were black. And this person was floating. And she got up and ran out of her bedroom. The next night, when her parents come home, the same thing started happening every night. She would open her eyes to see the same thing. But it started to seem like the experiences were getting more terrifying. She was being choked, getting scratches on her. Well, her parents called a priest, and they did everything they needed to do, and everything was fine after that until she reached 20. She's out on her own, and she was at her house. This time, as soon as she walked in her room and lay down, without closing her eyes, she seen this thing. And this time, it was more violent. And she kept praying and just kept praying. And it went away. And ever since then, she has never seen what she calls a demon. Tara was 23. She worked nights at a grocery store. So when she got home and went to bed, as soon as she closed her eyes and she woke up, she seen a man standing at the foot of her bed. And when she looked over at him, he stood up. And as he stood up, he kept getting taller and taller. And she was frozen. She couldn't move. She didn't know what to do. And finally, he went away. Well, the next night, the same thing happened. But this time, she was pulled out of her bed and dragged. And after that, she moved out. She didn't want to be there anymore. But no matter where she went, weird things would happen. And still today, this thing follows her. Never letting her go. Derek he's kind of a loner, but he had a friend one night come stay over with him. This was like one of his only best friends. They've known each other since high school. So he comes over and they're going to sleep, and the next morning the friend runs in his room and he tells him, there's something in your basement that's watching me, because he stayed in the basement. Well, Derek thought, he's just full of it. So he let it go, didn't think nothing else about it. Well, the next night when Derek was sleeping, he experienced the same thing. But what he experienced was almost like he seen a woman that looked like a witch. The way she was dressed, and just, it was just an eerie feeling. And he was frozen. He didn't know what to do. And somehow, through all of it, he fell asleep. But the next night, the same thing happened. But this time, she was talking to him in another language. He didn't understand what she was saying. But it was just this creepy... It was just eerie to it. And so that night he gets up because he can't sleep, and he ends up going and making him a cup of coffee and trying to stay awake because he doesn't want to go to sleep, obviously. Well, he falls asleep on the couch, and same thing. She's there, and she starts like attacking him. She's scratching him and all that, and then she disappears. And he knows it was real because he had so many scratches on him. Until this day, he's never seen her again. Until next time, guys, God bless.